Oh my gosh, guys, I am so excited recording this little snippet for you that I am going to replace my current intro for all of my podcast episodes so that for those of you that have been around for a while, you don't get confused. And for those of you that are new, welcome. Welcome to a brand new chapter of the show. Now, if you've been here from the beginning, you'll know this podcast has always been around helping women to build powerful personal brands, hence the name becoming a powerhouse brand. But over time, I have realized that the work that we're really here to do on this podcast, in the work that I do, obviously, even my business name, everything that it is that I stand for, it goes so much deeper than building a personal brand. So, welcome to She Who Roars. And this is not about shouting the loudest or forcing your way to success or chasing any trends. This is about presence. This is about identity, trusting your intuition, and creating an impact that is felt long before you even say a word, because the work that you do is changing lives. So, this isn't goodbye to personal branding. This is an evolution of the podcast. This is a journey of coming home to who you truly are, expanding your identity, and stepping into the leader that you're here to become. So, whether you've been listening since day one of the show or you've only just found this space, thank you so much for being here. I am so grateful that you are part of this journey. And now let's dive into today's episode. Today's guest is someone I've been really excited to welcome back onto the podcast because so much has changed since we last recorded together back in 2024. If you don't already know her, Marley Rose Harris is an entrepreneur. She's the queen of manifestation. She is a spiritually awakened leader. She's leading voices when it comes to energetics, money mindset, and creating a business that feels so aligned to what it is that we're here to do. Now, since we last spoke, I listened to Marley's podcast a lot. So I feel like I've kind of almost been part of that journey and known about it. But I would love for you to hear what Marley has to say about the incredible shift she's had over the last couple of years. And today we're going to be exploring about pivoting, listening to your intuition, balancing the feminine and masculine energy in business, and trusting the universe when something feels like there is a pull that is leading you into a different direction, even if it makes no sense. So, Marley, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
It's so good to have you here. Now, 2 years ago, we were talking a lot about your higher self app, which I think was just a baby at the time, wasn't it?
Baby.
Yeah. So, what shifts have you had in the last 2 years alone? Because I know there's just been a lot.
Wow, I don't even know where to begin. I feel like I even then thought that I was operating out of such a aligned place. And I was in so many areas of my life, but there was still, and I've noticed this. I find when you get to like the very last opportunity to pass a test or learn the lesson, the final lessons are the hardest.
Mm,
They're the most intense because the universe, God, Mother Nature, whatever word you use, it's like you have to become an A level student in this area of life. So we have to give you harder test to pass. And that's it with every game that you play. It's like level one, oh, easy, pass that. And then you're at like level 10, you're like, whoa, how am I still playing this game? Like, how am I still passing these tests? So I feel like for the past 2 years, the lessons I've been undergoing have been like level 10 in terms of getting me even more into alignment, even more trusting in the universe, even more trusting myself, trusting my intuition. And they've just been quite intense, I would say, but all for the greater good of my growth. But it's been very interesting, and I'm happy we're speaking now because if we were speaking a few months ago, I don't know what I would have been. It's been, this year has been wild for me, but I do feel like I'm on the other side of being brought to my knees again and then having to rebuild again. And it's like, not rebuild, but recenter
yeah.
again after a rock bottom.
Yeah. One of your latest episodes on your podcast, Money Mindset and Manifestation, if you haven't really listened to it, make sure you go and check it out. I'll put it in the show notes below. But one thing that really resonated with me was you had just been on a trip away and you were experiencing this dizziness. And I was like, oh my God, this is literally what has just happened to me. So I went away, had no issues with my back at all, came back, and then I just had this excruciating sciatic pain. It was almost like I was being forced to stop and listen and just be open to something else coming up. I was literally listening to the episode in the car, just thinking, oh my God, this is exactly what has just happened to me. I would love to know how you, when you are in moments like that, where you feel like it doesn't make sense, you're literally being stopped. If you're here to create this amazing life and to empower others, you're leading by example. And yet you're in these moments of why is everything just on top of me? Why does this feel so hard? Like that resistance is there. How do you know to just trust that this is happening for you and not to you?
I know. I think it's real. I was having a discussion with my friend last night, and she's going through something that's really annoying. It's one of those tests where it's almost like, why am I going through this? I do not see the point of this. I think well, with all of my clients, it's really easy for me to be like, okay, I can see how this is happening for you, right? But when it's happening to us, it's kind of like, why is this happening to me? Um, I find with those type of tests are actually the ones that are happening for you the most, like when it's not obvious, because our little human brains, we think that we know what's going on. And it's almost like we're in this tornado and we're like, oh yeah, this is what's happening and this is why this is happening. We add meaning to everything. And then God is like, you have no idea what's going on. And then once you land, you're like, oh, that's why that happened. So I think just truly through experience and through developing my trust and faith that I just choose to believe that because I just the contrary doesn't bring me happiness. So I just choose to believe that everything is happening for me. Um, and me especially, I'm always looking for the silver lining. I'm always looking for like, okay, why is this happening to me? And those things that I just cannot figure out are the ones I truly have to surrender. I have to be like, I do not know why this is happening, and I'm not letting it go. I'm letting it go. I'm surrendering. And it's like the minute you let it go and you stop trying to control it, you stop trying to figure it out, you stop trying to analyze it to find the purpose. It's like you just let it go. I feel like in that moment, it's like, oh, that's why that happened. It's almost like your lesson with the process of letting it go. And with one of my friends, she's going through this experience where because she has this big soul mission, right? And the way to explain it to her is like, if you want to become a doctor, you go to med school. And if you want to become a chef, you go to chef school. But if you want to become a doctor, you don't go to chef school. And if you want to become a chef, you don't go to med school. Meaning that if we have this desire, there is an initiation to get there. Okay. When we go to school, it's an intentional decision of like, I want to be a doctor, so I'm going to go to med school. But when you sign up for med school, you don't know all of your classes, right? You don't choose all of your classes get chosen for you,
Mm.
right? And I don't know what you've declared recently or what you've decided recently, but maybe you've made a decision and now something is happening and you're like, whoa, 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 I didn't sign up for this. Well, you signed up for med school, so you signed up for this class, but you don't see why this is helpful. You're like, why am I taking nutrition if I'm in med school? This doesn't matter, right? Our little human brain is like, what is this? It's like, well, actually, you don't realize that the like nutrition is the most important part of healing the body. So we have to trust that the people who invented medical school know exactly the class that we need, and we have to trust that Mother Nature, God, the universe, whichever word you use, is putting us through the class that we need to get to where we want, even though it doesn't look like what we thought we were signing up for. You have to trust that it is exactly where you are meant to be.
Yeah, it's like building those foundations, isn't it? We want to skip to the good bit, we want to skip to the end bit, but actually we need to go on that journey to get there. Um, you shared recently that you are letting go of a seven-figure business. That is a big transition, but I could feel the excitement in your energy when you were talking about it. What would you say are the biggest kind of identity shifts you've had to go on to go through that? Because I know when you started your journey, it was you wanted to make more money. So to be achieving that kind of level of success now, would you say that your identity has had to shift a lot? And has your idea of success also changed with this?
So I built my whole business around money education because I thought that from a very young age, I grew up poor. So I decided from a very young age, well, if I just have money, then everything is going to be okay. Because I felt like everything in my life was going wrong. For example, I really struggled with mental health. My parents' relationship was really tumultuous. I had really low self-esteem. And I blame that on money. I'm like, oh well, if my parents just had money, then they would be happier. And if we had money, then I could have the clothes that I want and I could do these things that I want. So I would be more confident. And if we had money, then we could go on vacations and then I would be happier. And then if and we could have a bigger house, then I could have my own room and we could have a nice car, then I would have more friends because then people would like me because we had more money. So from a very young age, I believed that if we had money, everything would be okay. And so I started a business with all of this underlying pain that I never resolved. And interestingly enough, like it's not like I started a drug dealing business where I made all this money and for the worst of the world. Like I did start a business that has helped so many people and it's my greatest thing in my entire life. Like it brings me so much joy every single day, but it was almost fueled with this undercurrent of needing to fulfill an inside problem from the outside.
Hmm.
And it was so sneaky. Like I got away with it for so long because I was doing so much good for the world and I was living this dream life that I always thought I wanted. But it was almost like I got away with it for only so long. And then I realized, oh shit. And I'll never forget, it was last year. It was when I had $1 million in my bank account, when I was living in an ocean front on the most beautiful road. It's called Billionaires Road in South Africa. It's where all the celebrities live. Like I had the most insane house, driving a Porsche, in a relationship, making six figures a month, and my health was just horrible. Like I couldn't even hold a conversation. I couldn't go outside. Like I was so in the pits. And I was like, wait a second. I don't think that money actually solves all these problems that I have. And it's so interesting. I've had that realization before in my first business because I also get this thing where I'm like, okay, woo. And because I'm a Capricorn manager and because I love what I do so much, I go. Like I just go all in. And then I don't consider stress. I don't consider my hormones. I don't consider nutrition. I don't consider, but like I do, but not in a really like taking it serious way. And I'm extremely healthy, but I don't know, I push myself and I push myself way too far. And because I was doing so good for the world, I thought that it was a good thing. And I thought that the universe was going to have my back and everything was going to be okay. But it just doesn't work that way. And I just push myself way too far. And everything that I was helping my clients with every single day, I stopped doing for myself because you know how like when you go to the hairdresser and they make the most beautiful hair for everyone else, but then their hair is like in this like knot on like the left side of their head, and they're like even the best heart surgeon cannot give themselves surgery.
Hmm.
And so what happened to me is like the work that got me to where I was, I stopped doing because the work became my work. And so doing it on myself felt like work. And so that's what happened. Like I just, without realizing it intentionally, kind of stopped doing all the things that got me to where I was. And even though I had all these things because I had done the work, my mental health was suffering because I was pushing myself beyond my limits. And so I would say, I know it sounds scary to let go of a seven-figure business, but I know that I am meant to be an eight-figure, nine-figure, like 10-figure earner. Like that doesn't scare me at all. Like I'm not like, oh my gosh, it is crazy that I'm closing down a business that makes me so much money, but at the same time, it would be crazy for me to do something that was so out of alignment for me now.
Mm,
And that's what happened is like I was making so much money in courses and one-to-one coaching, but it was burning me out because I was done with it. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore, but I kept doing it because I was making so much money doing it. And I was like, I would be insane to stop this. But what ends up happening, and my mentor said this to me the other day, which I think is so powerful. She was like, if you could see energy, you would never do anything out of alignment. And again, it was so sneaky. And I know I've said this a bunch of times, but I just want to say this again. It was like I was doing good for the world. It wasn't like I was doing bad things. I was helping my clients one to one. I was launching courses, but for me, it was done. Like I was done. I knew I was done with it, but I kept doing it because I was like, well, firstly, also, I went on the Skinny Confidential last year, and I was like, I need to have this all set in place before I go on it. It was like my stress and cortisol was at an all-time high, and then it just took a toll. And basically, this year, my health got so bad that I was like, I have to take a break. And that's when I went to Costa Rica, the life-changing trip. And it really only took me a week. It only took me a week of going completely offline, no phone, no Instagram, no social media, no work, no one-to-one calls. And I was back. I was like, okay, wow, there's nothing actually wrong with me. I just was doing everything out of alignment, even though logically these are good things to do, this is a good thing for the world, it's not right for me anymore. And that's okay. And it was like that permission of letting go of the thing that's actually good that was like my biggest breakthrough. And it's scary because it's such a comfort zone. It's so easy for me to do one-to-one calls, and my clients all want them. There's not a day that doesn't go by that someone says, hey, I want to book a one-to-one call, like every single day. And I have to be like, no. And it's so hard. And even though right now, like obviously I'm saying no to everything that makes me money, and I'm just in full faith and trust that everything's gonna work out. But this is my experiment. Like this is my experiment where I just completely stop doing, chasing, pushing myself, and I just let go and I trust that everything is going to work out because that's what I teach. That's what I would tell my clients, but then I wasn't even doing that. So this is like my full permission to fully, 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 fully 100%, 100% embody what I preach on like an even deeper level.
love that. One thing you talk about a lot is the balance of feminine and masculine energetics and how you obviously need both in business and life. And I hear about it a lot for those that are in kind of the starting a business, growing a business. But one thing I don't hear people talking about is when they have reached that kind of 7, 8 figure mark where there are these shifts that are happening where things aren't in alignment anymore. How do you balance the feminine and masculine at that level? Because I do feel like there is a difference from what I've heard from kind of people that are going through various shifts.
That's a really good question.
Before we dive back into today's episode, I wanted to invite you to something really special. If you are a spiritually awake leader, a healer, a mentor, a coach, or visionary who knows that you are here to create real impact, I would love to invite you to my Light Leaders 2026 event. This is a one-day in-person experience in the beautiful Cotswolds on Tuesday, the 6th of October. And this is all about bringing together heart-led leaders who are ready to share their message, their magic, and their impact that they're here to make. This isn't just another business event. This is a room full of people who truly get this work. It is a space to connect, to grow, to step into your next level of visibility and leadership. And I'm really excited to welcome that Amanda O, as our official brand partner, will be there with me on the day. Amanda helps experts to turn speaking opportunities into real business opportunities, making her the perfect partner for a room full of leaders who are ready to use their voice and be seen. If you are feeling the pull to be in the room or to find out more, you can find all the details and the ticket link in the show notes. I would love to welcome you. Now let's get back to the episode.
And I mean, when you're at that level, a lot of the times you can outsource a lot of the masculine, if I could be honest. And what I help my clients with mostly is they come to me and like, I'm so burnt out. I've been operating my masculine for so long, like help. And they're already, some of them are already earning seven figures and they're just doing it all on their own. I'm like, honey, like you do not have to, you can outsource all of this. And like, what? So if I
It's
could be
like a
honest,
control piece, though, isn't it?
yeah, I would, if I could be honest, it's like allowing yourself to be supported, allowing your feminine to be supported by the masculine and you not actively being the support. Like I'll hire it out. Hire someone to take care of these all these things that you don't want to do so that you can stay in your creative flow, and all of these action items and you know strategies and whatever are like taken care of and you can just flow with ease. And it's almost like it sounds silly, but people don't even realize that they can ask for that help. And it's just the permission slip of like, oh, you can more than afford to take someone on to help you. And to be honest, no matter where you're at, that should be the first step that you take once you can. Don't wait till you're at seven figures, because if you do that earlier, you'll quicker like more quickly get to the seven figures. It's the roadmap to getting there, and then eight, nine, 10. And you can't do it all on your own. You're not meant to. No, every feminine needs a masculine, every masculine needs a feminine. It's this yin and yang, it works together. So if you're just hustling on your own, you're actually doing yourself such a disservice, and life could be so much easier and more easeful if you just allow yourself the support. I know that's hard, but you do need to become aware of that and actually push through that, because that's actually what makes the change and you're going to end your suffering.
Yeah, I love that. Um, when you've got to a point in your business, I know we've kind of like talked about this a little bit, but when you feel like there is something else available to you, do you think there is a difference or a way of knowing the difference between it being an intuitive nudge and self-sabotaging, kind of taking that next step?
Hmm. Would you say like the self-sabotage, do you mean like the idea of being a bad idea, or it's like a detour?
I think maybe like a detour or like a fear of taking that next step potentially. I hear this a lot with people that are like they feel like there's a bigger purpose, there's a bigger next step to take, but often at that point they're in that in between of do I take that step or actually is this not in alignment? There's almost that resistance there, and it's that do you know if that is fear or if that is just like a self-sabotage fear thing, or is it an intuitive nudge that actually this isn't the right next step for you?
Oh, that's so interesting. So I have a really different viewpoint on that.
Go for it.
I, yeah, like if you're having a feeling that you're meant for more, I don't think there's any, unless I'm understanding this wrong, so just correct me, but I don't think there's any way that that can be a fear. Like your higher self calling you to a higher timeline and a higher potential, that's not fear. That's not a detour. That's not distraction. That's not you not feeling grateful enough for where you are. That's like your higher self being like, hey, come on, we have something greater to go. If you are 100% satisfied and fully content in your role and business, and you're having something come up of like, oh, well, it could be more. And what about this? And what if we did this more? Like, that is where I get a little sticky of maybe you having this block of like there always has to be something better and greater. And maybe your lesson is to acknowledge and be present in where you are. Like that's where I can feel a little stickiness. But if you are discontent in where you're at and you have this gut knowing that you're meant for more, that's your intuition speaking to you. How you're gonna know is if the feeling is calm and regulated and just like a parent would say like dinner's ready, like in a really nice way, with no stress, with no anger, just like breakfast is ready, then that's your answer. If it's like breakfast is ready, blah, 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 what about this and what if you're late for breakfast and breakfast blah, 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 then that's fear. So just feel into the thought. Is it calm and peaceful? Then that's your intuition. If it's holy shit, da 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 da, then that's fear. And so that's how you're gonna know. It's very nuanced to the situation. But for example, I knew I had to get out of one-to-one coaching and courses. Like I knew. But my ego did not want that. I was so tied to the money that I earned. I was so tied to honestly helping people in this way. I was like, I have people to help. I cannot not do this. And feeling this obligation to doing it. Because I want to help people, but the I think my higher self was like, you can't help the world one to one. Like you need to take a pause so that you can do what you do one to one with people on a mass scale because this is changing people's lives. But you can't. How are you gonna help the world, Marley, if you're working with everyone one to one like that? Like you can't. So I think the universe has been like, you need to pull back so you can actually share this to the world because that's actually what you want to do. But I'm just like a toddler kicking and screaming like, no, this way. And so that's been my like level of faith experiment right now. It's just like been like, okay, I love doing this, but I'm just gonna let it go because I trust that there's something greater.
Yeah. When you talk about there being something greater, like trust in the universe, what do you do when the guidance doesn't kind of make any logical sense whatsoever?
Oh my God, I lean all the way in. Like I'm the most logical person ever. There's nothing that I've done in my business that is logical. And if I do, it's like so boring to me. And if I get advice that's illogical, I know it's the right advice because that's my intuition speaking, not society program speaking. So the more illogical, the better. And I think I get this feedback all the time. People love this quote that I say, like, I'm here to help you make illogical income. The way that you make illogical income is not through logical action, it's through illogical action. So the more illogical, honestly, the better. I'm like more excited about that. If it's illogical, it means you're onto something really good.
Love it. Love it. What has been like the most illogical thing or the thing that you've done that has maybe been appeared as very like irrational to other people, but has been completely 100% the right path and you've built something incredible from it? Is it like you're just in your entire business?
I was like my whole life. Like let's start out. So when I was in college, all my friends were getting jobs at corporate 9 to 5s. I'd never worked in a corporate 9 to 5, and that's all I wanted my whole life because I wanted consistent income because I never had that growing up. And I was like, I'm gonna go be a digital nomad. Everyone's like, what the heck is that? Like, no, this is back in 2018. So no one knew that wasn't like a cool buzzword. It was like everyone was like, I have to Google what you're talking about. I declined my corporate job offer and I started a business. Completely illogical. Everyone else would have been like, take the job. You got a company car and a company card. Like, that's so cool. And I was like, this just does not excite me at all. And you could even have argued, well, just start that first and then start your business. But I was like, no, it does. I want to start my business. So I started my business. Then I built that business to multiple six figures. And then I was like, I'm miserable doing this. So I'm gonna burn it to the ground and I'm gonna start a new business. It's gonna be a coaching business. Everyone in my life was like, do not do that. At least sell it, find a partner, outsource it. I'm like, nope, it's done. I had to kill it. And everyone's like, no, you don't throw the baby out the bathwater, blah, blah, blah. Nope, gone. I was living in Bali. I had a house there, I had friends there, I had my whole life there, and I left on vacation like the first time after COVID, and I was like, "Oh, I'm done in Bali." Like I had built a villa there, just done full 8 months renovation. I was like, "Oh, I'm never gonna live in Bali again." Moved to South Africa, go to Cape Town on a like 1 week holiday. Oh, moving to Cape Town. Um, doesn't make any sense. Everyone's like, why are you going to Cape Town? It's so dangerous there. It's like my favorite place in the whole entire world. Uh, like it's my whole life has been this journey of this doesn't make any sense. Everyone actually, if more people are telling me not to do it, it means I'm onto something really good because if it's causing fear in them and I feel so safe about it, then I'm like, oh, I can't wait to like prove everyone wrong. And it's funny, I was home the other week and I was going through my like 3 year thing of where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to let go of something that's scaring me a lot, but I have to let go of it. And my mom was like, I just don't even doubt you anymore. I was really doubtful of when you closed the first business. That was so weird. That didn't make any sense to me. Like, you were making so much money, but now I see that your intuition is always right. I was like, thank you so much, mom.
Oh, I
So
love that.
yeah, it's I think in the beginning it's scarier because you don't have as much evidence, but at this point in my life, thankfully, because I've just followed it, it now feels easier. But bearing in mind, it did take me a long time to get this decision. It's not like this over. I'm not like, okay, done, moving on. It does take me a while, but no one can rush that experience in me. Even my mentor, like our last call, I was like, sorry, because everything I'm going through, she told me like months ago, and now I'm like, okay, you're not gonna believe this. I figured out this, I figured out this, and she's like, yeah, I've told you that like 5 times, but like I have to get there on my own, and it's like it's a part of your journey, and you have to just figure out on your own. Like your mom can tell you something 12 times, and then someone else tells you it, and you're like, oh my gosh, you're not gonna believe this thing. It's like you need to hear it like for the 10th time, and then it like
Yeah.
finally.
Yeah. Love that. Okay, just to wrap up, I love asking this question. What is the legacy that you are here to build? What do you want people to say about you, like for years, decades, however many years to come?
Wow, that's a really good question. The first thing that I have to think about that more, because that's like an amazing question. The first thing that comes to mind is definitely the power of subconscious reprogramming. But what I really want to help this world do is that every single person feels like they are enough from the inside. I think all the pain and suffering in this world comes from people believing that they're not enough. And they use money, they use relationships, they use career, plastic surgery, all these things to make them feel worthy and feel enough on the outside. And it's a lifelong drain of not feeling enough. And I really want to help the world just feel worthy and enough to go for and have anything that they could want in this life, their dream relationship, their dream bank account, their dream home, because everything that you could want is on the other side of believing that you are worthy and enough of it. And the craziest thing is like you were born worthy and you were born enough, and we get programmed out of that through our parents, through society, through all these things. And I think that remembering and coming home to yourself and being the source of everything is really what I want to help the world
That is
feel.
so beautiful. I've literally got goosebumps on my arms. Like my hair's running. For someone that's maybe listening to that, that is maybe they don't even have their own business. Maybe they're stuck in a business they don't even enjoy, or they just feel like maybe they're not destined for great things. If they've listened to that and just thought, okay, if somebody else can do it, then I can do it myself. What is the very first thing you would recommend that somebody does to take that first step into changing their life and turning things around?
So interestingly enough, I this is my new business, is this whole concept that I'm sharing with you right now. So soon I will have the actual stuff for that. It's going to be launching December of 2020 of this year. Um, but right now, listening, what you need to acknowledge and connect to is your own innate ability and your own connection to being the source of everything. So, like, you create the source of everything. So, you have to you used to have this very strongly, but you've been conditioned out of this. But you used to have a really strong connection to your own intuition, your own and knowing. Like, when you're baby, if you were hungry, you just cried for food. You did not give a shit. You didn't feel bad if you were hungry. If you had to poo, you literally pooed your pants. People cleaned it up for you. Like, you didn't care. Now you're like, should I go? Should I leave this class? What if someone is offended by this? Like, we get so disconnected from our what we want, what we need, what we desire. We feel guilty for it. We feel shame. We're wrapped up in all of this shame and guilt and all these things. So it's about like reconnecting to your own innate power and your own innate knowing. which is knows more than you, more than I. Like it is the guidance to everything. And once you are reconnected to that and reconnected to your own compass and reconnected to your own connection to yourself, and you begin to listen to that and follow that, is truly when everything changes. You've just disconnect. You've almost like unplugged from that connection, and we need to plug you back in and like supercharge you from the inside out, because that's you are the most powerful version of yourself when you're connected to yourself. And that's why you've been disconnected, because imagine if we were all the most powerful version of ourselves, like the world would be such a better place. So it's about reconnecting to yourself, reconnecting to your intuition, reconnecting to your own ability to create anything that you could ever want from the inside out, not from the outside in. Once you know that, you're completely unstoppable.
Such important work, and I cannot wait to hear more about it. I was actually going to ask you what is next for you, but you've kind of already answered it. So, where is the best place to connect with you online to find out all the news and be the first to hear about when this launches?
So you can follow me at Instagram at Marley Rose Harris, and YouTube, same handle, and the podcast, the Money Mindset Manifestation Show.
Amazing. I will pop all the links in the show notes below. Hope you've enjoyed this episode, guys. Please do reach out to Marley and myself to let us know what you thought of the episode. And I cannot wait for one to hear more about what Marley is releasing. Thank you so much for coming on today. I will
Thanks so
see
much,
you
Emily.
soon, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.